Welcome back, guys. I'm Follygon. We are working on random androgynous character, aka D.VA, but you know, it doesn't necessarily look like D.VA quite yet, and that's okay. Everything has to have a beginning. It's just that maybe sculpting, you know, it takes a while. I won't sugarcoat it. 3D modeling, sculpting, all this stuff, it takes a long time to do this kind of work, and just being aware of that from the beginning can kind of set your expectations so you're ready for the work that you're going to be doing. And just a few little changes here that we're going to make to the torso, and then I would like to get back to working on some general overall big changes. So I think a good way to start doing some of that would be to merge the neck down into the body here, and then once we have that, that might be too low. Well, actually, no, that's not bad. That's not bad for our Dynamesh. What I would like to do, though, is kind of soften this transition. So you got some muscle and stuff going on in here. I do not know the names of these muscles. I am sorry. Like I've said in the past, I don't know the names of a lot of muscles. You know, sometimes I just forget the name of the trapezius, and that's pretty embarrassing as a sculptor. But you know, it happens. So don't feel bad if you don't know the names of every single freaking muscle on the body. It does help knowing a name though, because having a name and having that memorized often, it kind of gives you like a little bit of a roadmap, I would say, and kind of guides you onto like where something should be. So if you know this is the trapezius that I'm working on, and just kind of hearing and knowing the name trapezius, you know that that muscle exists, and that can be helpful in and of itself. Adjusting this shape, merging those down. Let's soften this transition. I'm just not a fan of what's going on there. But the construction that we have created has helped us get to the point where we are at. Let's, I'm looking at this body down here. I am actually fine with merging this together as well. But when we do this one, we are going to want to make sure that these are touching here. It looks like it is. I did a little bit of move brush with back face masking. That can be good for just making sure that stuff is connected so that when you Dynamesh it together, it will retain, well, it will not retain, but it will become a singular mesh. You won't have any gaps or holes or anything like that. So move brush, back face masking. And as you can see there, as I pinch that together, it starts to get a bit of a gap in there, but that move brush, back face masking, perfect example of another use for that brush. So just a quick Dynamesh. Quick little under rib kind of cutout. I just want to make that a bit deeper than what it would actually need to be. Just like to make stuff exaggerated and then push it back from there. So make the big change, see that I've kind of pushed it a bit too far, and then try to kick it back a little bit. So we'll try to do that a little bit more on some of the rest of this. And, you know, I think we're getting closer to having a decent base for our body. Throw in some breasts, and then we can start thinking about clothing, accessories, hair, all that good stuff. And that's when, you know, it gets fun. You start getting the character to look like the thing that you're aiming for. And once you get all those parts in there, it really kind of starts to bring it all together. And at that point, that is when you start to notice this stuff that's like, these eyes are not the right shape for this character. Let's adjust that. So just don't get attached to, well, don't get attached to anything really. Just kind of keep looking at your reference, or keep aiming for what you're aiming for, and don't get too sidetracked. Don't do as I say, not as I do, right? Isn't that what parents say? So I'm your think of me as your 3D parent, your ZBrush parent here. Do as I say, not as I do. So I am the perfect example of a lot of things that you should not do. And I try to be good. I do, but you know, this stuff's tough, and it's good to be aware of that. Good to be aware of how tough it is. And come on, select that ZBrush. Cooperate. Be my friend, ZBrush. Thought we were pals. I'm just trying to pull this out a little bit to where that flat would be for the acromion process, which is what I was talking about in the last episode. This is going to represent the transition between our deltoid and our pectoral. That's what that's called, pectoralis major. There's I think 3 heads of the pec, maybe 4. There's like it's like a secret pec head that nobody knows about, but I know about it, and I don't think it adds much external shape to the torso or the chest, but some little things like that. There's some anatomy knowledge that's you know, I wouldn't say any anatomy knowledge is useless, but some of it that doesn't affect the what would you call it, like the external shape of the body. Some of that stuff's just not useful, at least to me, but knowing that it exists can lend to the shape of other stuff, or the lack of shape that you kind of throw in for some stuff. So being as knowledgeable on that stuff as possible is definitely a good thing. So if you don't have an anatomy book, I believe I have 1 or 2 kind of that I like to recommend. And then I have anatomy for the 3D artist on my desk. It's a bit less heavy than other books on like technical ZBrush stuff and more focused on anatomy. But it is just, it's a beautiful book. I think it's published by 3D Total. I don't know the author off the top of my head, and I won't stop to look at it. And if you guys do want to check it out, I have it linked down in the description. Go ahead and check it out. It's an awesome book. I have a few other books that I recommend on my gear list, if you see that link down there as well. So if you're looking for some awesome ZBrush books, that is the place to start. Not the anatomy book, but the other books that I recommend in my gear. That anatomy book, though, oh man, I love it. I love just looking at it. So I haven't been talking too much about what I'm doing here. I get sidetracked. But I'm just kind of trying to get this deltoid shape in here a little bit, and it's too bulbous from here, but I do want to get a bit of a neat little transitiones happening here. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I do like to get it in there. Even just starting to put some shapes in, and as long as you kind of block it out, and if it gets kind of destroyed later, that's not too big of a deal, because the basic larger primary form should retain through till the end of your sculpt here. So I'm gonna kind of damn standard-ish brush that in, and then pinch it in as well. Kind of try to get the same thing going on for the back head of the deltoid. That should be you know, going up and in a bit, I think, as well. It's not exact where I want it. That's okay. Adjust it, play with some stuff, and you know, we're getting pretty close to I think where we want to be on this torso, so we can start messing with the face in the next episode, and you know, just getting a bit closer. But before we do that, I think and quick smooth. And then I will worry about adjusting the shape of that more in the next episode. But we're going to do some general big changes here and keep playing with stuff. And like I said, we will do that in the next part. So I will see you guys over there.